at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. When you go to bed at night, you lay there and you take responsibility for yourself.
So, after years of silence, Tyra Banks is finally addressing the decades-long accusations that she traumatized models on America's Next Top Model. And girl, it isn't looking good. From talk of racism to toxic workplace environments, models have been speaking out about how Tyra mistreated them and ruined their chances of success in the modeling world for decades. And judging by how the internet has reacted to old clips, it is clear that Tyra wasn't a mentor to anyone.
So Danielle, you went to the dentist, but you refused to have your gap closed. Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with the gap in your mouth?
Yeah, why not? This is all people see. Easy beautiful CoverGirl.
Even now, Tyra is admitting that she took things too far, further than she could have imagined. But the reason she gave for doing so has everyone doing double takes because, what in the world? Honestly, it's shocking the things that they were able to get away with. America's Next Top Model premiered in 2003 and ran for about 24 seasons before it stopped airing in 2018. It was created by Tyra Banks and it had cult following. Everyone was tuning in to watch young girls who were lining up around the corner for a chance to appear on the show, and it was wildly successful. Every week, there were various photo shoot challenges and weekly eliminations that were determined by a panel of fashion experts. No matter how the judges changed throughout the seasons, the one person who was always constant was Tyra Banks. So, she was really the one who approved the toxic ideas for the weekly challenges and all the bad behavior that came along with it. And one of the things that America's Next Top Model was famous for was their extreme makeovers. And the goal was to make every girl look very different from how they first came in.
So you know what I'm doing? Have you ever seen that movie Rosemary's Baby starring Mia Farrow? You haven't? Well, I'll explain what her hair looked like in that movie. It was a little bit lighter than yours, and it was this short.
Oh my God.
So you're gonna have to say bye-bye to Beauty Queen.
We're not just cutting this just to cut your hair.
Oh,
this
no.
fits your face.
Your face is strong enough to handle that. Cassandra, why are you crying?
I love my hair.
It'll always grow back.
And when I say the changes were drastic, I mean even the models who were willing to do anything were surprised and sometimes sad about the way their hair and bodies were treated. If the girls were able to get a haircut they weren't happy with or did get a style that made them unhappy, the show would fully zone in on that and expect them to be stuck up. Y'all, there wasn't anyone pulling them aside to explain to them what was happening. And if anyone got super emotional or was reluctant to go through with it, Tyra would still force her to get her hair cut and maybe even make it a bit more extreme just to watch the girl break down emotionally on national TV for the purpose of ratings. I mean, there was one time that a contestant, Gina, who was dealing with alopecia, was forced to remove her wig and shave off whatever little hair she had left. Tyra was talking about how they wanted to sell alopecia as being a beautiful thing, even though Gina had expressed multiple times that as a teenager, her alopecia was something she...
I've been accused of being a man because I have no hair. I was told for so long that I wasn't beautiful. Constantly battling and trying to prove yourself and be feminine is exhausting.
And being feminine is exhausting. And what about the time that Bree Scala, a contestant from season 5, got all her hair chopped off despite knowing that she was a hair model? They literally cut off her moneymaker, and all the agencies she was with dropped her within a week. So, when she came out without winning the show and no money, she crashed out and ended up homeless, music, and in rehab within a year. But it was not just hair makeovers. Tyra had some girls doing body modifications, like changing the shape of their teeth, for example. Child, even when the girls doubled down to make it through the makeovers, they still had to deal with the manufactured pressure and competition from the show. America's Next Top Model was a modeling competition, but beyond that, it was a reality TV show, and they were masters at poking people's traumas just enough to make them break down and look crazy. As soon as they were selected, the models were interviewed relentlessly, and absolutely nothing was off limits to the producers of the show. One time, 2 contestants of season 10, Marvita and Fatima, had opened up in their interviews about being homeless and what a terrible experience that was. And guess what? The first challenge they were given to do was, these girls were told that their first photo shoot would be a homeless theme and that they would have to channel all of the emotions they felt when they were homeless. The show framed it as a charitable thing because they were shining light on the homeless situation, but forcing them to relive a moment of their lives that they would rather forget could leave anyone feeling traumatized and misused. There was another super unhinged moment on Cycle 4 when model Kane heard that a close friend of hers had passed away, and she was so shaken by the sudden loss that she doubled over crying when she learned that the next shoot was going to take place in a cemetery.
It's really messed up. I mean, I know nobody knows the circumstances, but I just don't want to be here.
And then there were 7. Well, I hope none of you are afraid of tight and confined, creepy spaces. Follow me.
It took everything in my body not to just give up right at that moment.
The girls have talked about how there were cameras in every nook and cranny of the house, even in the bathroom. So, what are the chances that producers didn't know what was going on? 0. Now, moments like these definitely got a lot of backlash because having a shoot in a graveyard for any reason is just majorly disrespectful. But that was pretty normal for what Tyra had them doing. You think that Tyra, being a black woman, would have been more cautious about perpetuating harmful racial stereotypes. But if anything, she leaned into that harder. They experimented with race-swapping themes a few times and got the girls changing their hair, styling, and skin tones just for a photo shoot, basically forcing them into blackface and cultural appropriation without thinking twice about it. Creative director Jay Emanuel talked about how uncomfortable he was with the shoot, but was afraid to speak up about it because he was just told to do his job.
Specifically in Cycle 4, the whole race swapping shoot, I was very uncomfortable. My parents grew up in South Africa. They're from South Africa under apartheid. So you've got to understand the kind of the family I grew up in. I'm biracial. It just was very uncomfortable.
Still, if the girls were going to do all of that and the show was making a lot of money off their backs, you'd expect for them to be taken care of, right? At the very least. But child, not at all. They each received a $40 stipend for the week, and they were always hungry. And when you're hungry, you get irritated and angry and you lash out. And that was the end goal the entire time the models were living together. And the producers always wanted to see them at there, and they were ready to squeeze everything out of it. When the show ended and the old clips kept circulating, people started talking about just how bad the show was, and why nobody spoke up about it. Even former contestants started speaking out because more than half the time they came out with no work. Even the shoots that they were traumatized for couldn't be used to book any jobs. Music, however, Tyra still defended the show, and when she spoke out, she said, "Been seeing the post about the insensitivity of some past America's Next Top Model moments. And I agree with you. Looking back, those were some really off choices. I appreciate your honest feedback, and I'm sending so much love and virtual hugs. That was basically a slap on the wrist and disrespectful to all of the girls who genuinely suffered for the sake of their dreams." Now, she's admitting that she knew the show went too far. It turned from wanting to break barriers in the modeling world to a torture boot camp for young models that went on, recording every single moment off of the money. But Tyra still didn't think that any of it was her fault. Instead, she said that it all happened because the viewers demanded it. Over 100 million viewers tuned in every day to watch. And at some point, Tyra and her team decided it was fine to do anything they could to keep the ratings up and continue to lean into it until they couldn't. But the internet isn't here for Tyra shifting the blame like that. And they've got some things to say. Y'all will not gaslight us into forgetting how Tyra terrorized some of those contestants. BFFR. She both had this moment and also made those moments often herself. The North remembers. Okay, honestly, as someone who watched a lot of America's Next Top Model, I do feel complicit. I don't know if I could have stopped her because I never tried. I was too afraid of Miss J and Jmanuel killing me with a crossbow. You guys kept on pushing. Tyra, I was 7 years old. Why are we shifting blame? But do you guys think the audience is to blame? Sound off in the comments. And make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.